A luxury car pulls up. Robin is captivated by it. In his mind, he pictures himself gripping the steering wheel. He dreams of being like the car's owner, living a life of material wealth. He longs to take his parents on trips to see the stunning sights they've always dreamed of. He also hopes to buy his partner the dazzling jewelry she always gazes at through shop windows. He wants to buy a coffee without hesitating over an extra $5. But in reality, his pockets are empty, and he's just an ordinary employee. So, how can Robin resolve his concerns? In life, how did those who started from nothing and succeeded manage to achieve their accomplishments? Coming from similar humble backgrounds, why do some people amass fortunes thousands of times larger than others? Today, I'd like to introduce The Psychology of Money by author Morgan Housel. In society, some people are immensely wealthy, while others are desperately poor. In truth, only a small number understand the code to wealth, while most people are still tirelessly chasing it. Why is it that so many investment and finance books, filled with knowledge and specific formulas, fail to help people achieve financial success? It's because the economy is cyclical, and those formulas are only effective during certain periods. That's why we need to focus on universal principles, such as the nature of greed and fear in humans. Voltaire once said, "History never repeats itself, but people always repeat the same mistakes." This is especially true when applied to our behavior with money. The author suggests that instead of focusing only on historical events, we should seek the psychological patterns and human nature behind them. Then consider how to leverage these insights. Many believe money is simply a matter of numbers, spreadsheets, and calculations, but that's a misconception. The game of wealth is not just a dry mathematical exercise. It's a complex decision-making process tied to human psychology. We are complex beings, and a person's financial success depends not only on what they know, but also on how they behave. Simply put, a person's financial decisions are tied to their psychological traits. Let's explore the psychological principles of money that can create a wealth gap of tens of thousands of times between individuals. Principle 1. Risk and luck. In 1968, there were about 300 million teenagers worldwide. Among them, 300 students attended Lakeside School in Seattle. This was the only high school in the world at the time with a computer available for learning programming. It wasn't an ordinary computer, but an advanced device that even university students hadn't accessed. For Lakeside students, this was truly a stroke of luck, as it changed everything, especially for a student named Bill Gates. In 1968, the odds of a high school student accessing a computer were about 1 in a million. Studying at Lakeside gave Bill Gates a unique competitive edge. Gates candidly admitted in 2005 that without Lakeside, there would be no Microsoft. Most people know only of Bill Gates and his classmate Paul Allen, the founders of Microsoft. But in reality, Lakeside's group of talented computer students included the third member, Kent Evans. Kent was just as brilliant and visionary, fully capable of becoming a Microsoft co-founder. But that never happened. Before graduating high school, Kent died in a mountaineering accident. The odds of a high school student dying in a mountaineering accident were also 1 in a million, just like the odds of Gates and Allen accessing a computer. Luck and risk are like wind and waves, determining a ship's journey. While we can adjust the rudder and sails, the ship's direction and speed are ultimately influenced by external factors we can't predict or control. So, always remember that survival comes first. Square Capital CEO, billionaire Michael Morris, shared in a famous interview that Square Capital became one of the most successful venture capital firms due to its long-term resilience. He noted that some venture capital firms succeed for only 5 to 10 years, but Square Capital has thrived for 40 years. This was achieved by prioritizing survival in their business and investment strategies. Warren Buffett also said one of the secrets to successful investing is don't lose capital, meaning you must at least ensure you can keep going. Only by staying in the game do you have a better chance of winning. The path to financial success is full of twists and turns. Luck and risk play significant roles in shaping our lives. Success doesn't come entirely from individual effort, nor is poverty solely due to laziness. Behind it all is an interplay of factors like family background and the environment we grow up in. When enjoying success, one should recognize the role of luck. When facing failure, one should understand the role of risk. Only then can we develop a calm and mature perspective on money, avoiding overconfidence or blind self-blame, while preparing to adapt to any uncertainty in the future. Financial rule number 1. A person's financial success or failure cannot be entirely attributed to themselves. The roles of luck and risk are undeniable. When learning from other successes, seek universal, widely applicable patterns rather than extreme cases heavily reliant on luck or risk. Extreme financial success stories are often hard to replicate. Principle 2. Your financial DNA. Each person is born in different eras, lives in different parts of the world, and grows up in different economic environments. This leads to differences in income, perceptions of asset value, and experiences with money. For example, those born in the 1950s and 1960s often believed a stable government job was the key to a good life. But for pioneers in entrepreneurship, they believe the marketplace is the path to the life they desire. Take the stock market and inflation as examples. In the U.S., those born in 1970 witnessed the S&P 500 index rise nearly tenfold. This gave them a positive view of the stock market and made them more willing to invest. Meanwhile, those born in 1950 saw a less developed stock market, leading to a more negative outlook and less willingness to invest. People born in the 1960s experienced severe inflation, making them more aware of its impact and more pessimistic about it. In contrast, those born in the 1990s lived through relatively low inflation, resulting in less concern and awareness of the issue. These vastly different experiences strongly shape their attitudes and behaviors toward investing and financial decisions. People make financial decisions based on the information they have at the time and the psychological financial models they envision about the world. When making each financial decision, they believe it's rational, even if it turns out to be a mistake. They still think the decision was the best and most beneficial for improving their financial situation at the time. Financial rule number 2. Financial decisions are often not purely based on logic or mathematics, but are shaped by each individual's unique experiences and worldview. So, don't blindly trust cookie-cutter financial advice, as what seems irrational to others may suit your specific circumstances. Principle 3. Pessimism about wealth. It's often said that we should stay optimistic, but when it comes to money, most people lean toward pessimism. This stems from deep within human nature. However, if we look back from the time we were born to now, over decades or centuries of economic development, we'll see that the socioeconomic situation has generally been improving. So, why are people more likely to accept pessimism than optimism when it comes to wealth? The reason is that good things take time to happen. They don't occur in an instant. For example, if you invest in the right market in the U.S., a 40% stock market drop in 6 months immediately grabs public attention and may even prompt government intervention. However, on average, every 6 years, U.S. stock market growth often exceeds 140%. But this gets less notice. According to statistics, over the past 50 years in the U.S., medical advancements have saved 500,000 lives annually. Meanwhile, sudden and dramatic losses, like terrorism, plane crashes, or natural disasters, easily capture public attention in media. Many tragedies happen overnight, but overnight miracles are rare. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to follow the channel for more insights about money and to help you achieve financial freedom faster. Golden Rules warmly welcomes you all. There's no denying that pessimism acts as a warning system in the two most critical areas of life, money and health. However, pessimism can also become a barrier to progress. In this process, we need to learn to extract constructive elements from pessimism and turn them into motivation for personal and societal growth. This is crucial, so we don't need to be overly pessimistic despite economic setbacks. We can trust that, over time, good outcomes will eventually come. As statistician Hans Rosling emphasized, he was a serious advocate of possibility, encouraging fact-based assessments rather than blind optimism or pessimism. Thus, The ideal state is finding a balance between the two extremes, being able to identify and prepare for risks while staying open to future opportunities. Wars, trade conflicts, and recurring black swan events can leave you confused about where the global economy is headed. But when you read news about global stock market crashes, economic crises, or other financial issues, remember that, over time, the world's economic situation will gradually improve. Financial rule number 3, don't let pessimism about wealth cloud your judgment. From a long-term perspective, fact-based optimism often leads to better financial success while helping you spot opportunities that pessimism might miss. Principle 4, the long tail effect. In 1936, Heinsberg fled Nazi Germany and settled in the U.S. Later, he became one of the most successful art dealers in history. He owned a vast collection of artworks, including pieces by renowned artists like Picasso, Paul, and Henri Matisse. In 2000, selling just a small portion of his collection at auction fetched over 100 million euros. What was the secret to amassing such a massive collection? Did he have special techniques, or was it simply luck? In fact, the method of successful collectors like him is straightforward. They buy large quantities of artworks and hold them for the long term. They wait until some pieces in their collection become famous and highly valuable. Even if most of their artworks are worthless, just a small fraction becoming recognized masterpieces, like Picasso's works, is enough. This is the long tail effect, meaning a few events or outcomes could determine ultimate success. Heinsberg's story offers a valuable lesson about investing. The long tail effect applies to many aspects of business and investing. A clear example is venture capital. Most startups backed by venture capital funds fail, causing losses. However, a few successful startups can yield returns exceeding 20 times the investment. Take Amazon as an example. Amazon's success is driven by two key long-tail factors: its e-commerce platform and AWS cloud services. These two products are enough to offset all of Amazon's other unsuccessful investments, like the Amazon Fire Phone or Amazon Destinations Travel Service. When the Amazon Fire project failed, Jeff Bezos didn't apologize to shareholders. Instead, he said, "If you think this is a big failure, we're working on projects that could fail even bigger." Bezos understood that just one massively successful investment could justify all the mistakes and failures of other projects. In investing, the long tail effect is common, but most of us easily overlook it. When an investment goes wrong, we often overreact. However, if you use the long tail effect to plan your business, investing, and financial activities, you won't be overly affected by frequent failures or mediocre results. Warren Buffett, out of nearly 500 stocks he selected, had just 10 stocks account for most of his profits. A great investor who is right half the time is already exceptional. A brilliant leader who makes the right decision half the time is already remarkable. In every area of life, people need to keep experimenting and correcting mistakes. Sometimes errors happen, but that doesn't mean success won't come in time, as the final outcome is often determined by a few critical events. Financial rule number 4. In investing in business, don't worry too much about frequent failures or mediocre results. Success often depends on a few major wins or critical events. These will bring significant profits. Principle 5. The power of compound interest. There's no doubt that Warren Buffett is considered one of the greatest investors in history. Remarkably, 96% of Buffett's net worth was earned after age 60. Few notice this simple truth. The massive figures in Buffett's accounts come not only from talent, but also from time and persistence. It's not just that he's an exceptional investor. It's that he's been an exceptional investor since childhood. Warren Buffett started learning to invest at age 11. This allowed him to harness the power of compound interest. The power of compound interest is immense. Suppose you invest $10,000 at an 8% annual return. After 1 year, you'd have $10,800. If you reinvest the entire amount at 8% for the second year, you'd earn $864, meaning your principal is no longer $10,000 but grows exponentially each year. Over time, after 50 years, the total would reach $469,166. This is exactly what Warren Buffett did. He began investing seriously at age 11, and by age 30, his net worth reached $1 million. What if Buffett had abandoned compound interest at that point? If he'd acted like most 30-year-olds, spending most of his income on travel and a few nice cars, he'd have depleted much of his savings. Suppose he was left with only $25,000 and continued investing at an impressive average return of 20.2% annually. Today, his net worth would be about $11 million, 99.99% less than his actual wealth. Thus, Buffett's financial success stems from the financial foundation he built early and his commitment to long-term investing with compound interest. His secret lies in time and the power of compound interest. Consider it from another angle. Though Buffett is one of history's wealthiest investors, in terms of average returns, he's not the best. For example, Jim Simons, a hedge fund manager, achieved an annual growth rate of 66% from 1988. Yet Simons' net worth is only $21 billion, far less than Buffett's. Why? The reason is simple. Simons only found his investing rhythm at age 50. This means his time leveraging compound interest was half that of Buffett's. If Simons had invested for as long as Buffett, his wealth could have exceeded $6 trillion. So, don't underestimate the power of compound interest. The earlier you start, the better, and even if annual returns seem small, don't dismiss them. Human instinct tends toward linear thinking, so we often lack full awareness of the exponential growth potential of compound interest. Though the long-term benefits of compound interest are immense, they're often undervalued. We need to learn to overcome intuition, recognize the value of patience, and persist. Don't let the pursuit of instant gratification rob you of long-term growth opportunities. The wisdom of compound interest isn't limited to finance. It applies to accumulating knowledge, improving skills, and personal growth. Learning a little each day may seem insignificant, but with years of persistence, you can build a vast system of knowledge and exceptional expertise. Compound interest reminds us that great achievements are rarely the result of sudden bursts, but come from daily effort and accumulation. Whether it's wealth, knowledge, or skills, compound interest teaches us that small, repeated efforts create a powerful flow that transforms lives. Remember, miracles often hide in ordinary but persistent efforts. Financial rule number 5. People often focus on short-term gains and overlook the long-term impact of compound interest. Understanding and leveraging the power of compound interest is key to achieving lasting financial success. It's not about chasing quick profits, but aiming for steady, sustainable growth over time.